costs how much to buy a house? Most people are surprised by how much it takes to buy a house. And most of the time, it's not as much as they think. Join me as I walk through how much it costs to buy a house. Let's do it. Welcome back. I'm Jonathan McCoy with Keller Williams Realty, Chattahoochee North, and I'm a realtor in Duluth, Georgia, in the metro Atlanta area. If you're new to my channel, I share about all things real estate, home ownership, and life in Duluth, Georgia, and the metro Atlanta area. We are getting into a topic I'm asked about a lot, and that is, how much does it cost to buy a house? So, there's all kinds of misinformation out there when it comes to buying a home. One of the primary misconceptions is about down payment. Down payments on a home can vary drastically. A lot of people think you need 20% down to purchase a home. Some think you need 5% down. Would it surprise you if I told you that there are loans that exist that ask for 0% down? Now, most common 0% down loan I'm aware of is the VA loan. If you're a veteran, you can qualify for a VA loan and can not only have a 0% down loan, but there's no PMI, that's mortgage insurance, on a VA loan. There's a program also called the Georgia Dream Home Ownership Program, which was created for first-time home buyers and low-income buyers. This program gives you money down towards a down payment. Depending on your situation, the program can give you $5,000, $7,500, or even up to $15,000. If you have a low enough sales price, this money could cover your down payment completely and some of the closing costs. One thing to note with these types of programs, which are called down payment assistance programs, is that you may be given a much higher interest rate with these than other types of loans. Though it may look good up on the front end, for the life of the loan, you actually may be paying more. A piece of advice I will give you is get a good lender and talk to them about all the different options you may have. A good lender should be able to tell you all the good, the bad, and the ugly of each type of loan that you qualify for. For those not eligible for either of these, then there are loans as low as 3% down. If you're looking for a home that's in the $200,000 range, we're talking about $6,000 in down payment. Okay, next thing to consider when you are buying a home is closing costs. Closing costs consist of closing attorney's fees, lender fees, title insurance, and taxes associated with buying a home. In addition, there is money that will be needed to put into an escrow account that will be needed at closing. Your escrow account is set up by your lender to pay for your taxes and homeowner's insurance. The total cost of this is known as cash to close. This amount will be between 3 and 3.5% of the sales price of the home, depending on the price point. If we keep the home sales price at $200,000, we're talking about $7,000 in closing costs. But I have good news. You, as the buyer, can negotiate with the seller to pay some, most, or even all of the closing costs. So instead of you paying $7,000, you can negotiate for the seller to pay that $7,000. Another item to talk about is your earnest money. Now, earnest money is good faith money that the buyer puts down that is taken up front and put into an escrow account. This amount varies for each offer. Great news about earnest money is that this money, if you go all the way to closing, is money that is just used as part of your down payment, or if you don't have a down payment, you can apply it to your closing costs. So this isn't in addition to anything we have talked about yet, but this amount is needed up front. Now, too many people stop there when it comes to figuring out how much it costs to buy a house. There's more to it than that. There are some upfront costs needed. One of those upfront cost items is a home inspection. Now, you could opt to not do a home inspection, but that'd be crazy, and you should never do that. Always get a home inspection. Even if you buy a brand new home, get a home inspection. You need a home inspection. And make sure it's a good home inspector. Look, it's great that your neighbors, brothers, cousins, boyfriend, or whomever does home inspections, but make sure he actually or she actually does good ones. I've seen some terrible home inspections done. Not by any inspectors I would recommend, but I have seen them. Get someone who has done a lot of inspections and comes highly recommended. And don't be cheap on this one. Home inspections will vary in cost depending on your inspector, the size of the house, and if there's a crawl space, basement, or if the house is on a slab. Typical home inspections run about $400. Now, if the home inspector finds something, such as settling of the house, an issue with the HVAC system, you may need additional inspections done. These inspections can cost you money. Another thing that you must get done if you're getting a loan for your house is an appraisal. The lender orders the appraisal, and these run about $500. These can vary as well depending on who your lender is and who they use for appraisals. Let's now break it down to what I typically see. For someone wanting to buy a $200,000 home with a 3.5% down FHA loan, I usually see that type of buyer asking for around $5,000 in seller paid closing costs. So for this particular buyer, you would have $7,000 in down payment, about $2,500 in closing costs, your inspection of $400, and your appraisal of $500. That runs your total amount needed to $10,400. So for a first-time home buyer, saving up to about $11,000 gets you into a $200,000 home. Now, if you qualify for some down payment assistance or if you get a VA loan, you can get in for much less. I've personally seen someone buy a $250,000 home for as little as $3,000. This person had a VA loan, negotiated $6,000 in seller paid closing costs, and they only had a little bit of closing costs, the inspection, and the appraisal to pay for. If you are like most people I talk with, you're probably surprised about how little you can purchase a home for. One thing I love about real estate is that every situation and deal is different. So, if you have questions about your specific situation, please feel free to ask them in the comment section below. Or give me an email, or you can even give me a call. My information is also below. If you like this video, you may want to check out this video on the steps it takes to buy a home from start to finish. I'm John McCoy. I post every Thursday. Thanks, and I will see you next time.